Ashley Ballard, and it is a joy to join you today on this video. I want to talk with you about grief, recognizing grief, and even validating the grief that you may be experiencing, because grief is completely natural to life. And everyone around us, you may be someone yourself who is experiencing grief, but all of us, even if it's not the loss of death, we're all experiencing some form of loss right now. And it's very difficult to experience grief without really being able to try to manage your emotions that you're experiencing, because grief comes with so many different emotions, whether it be sadness, disappointment, anger, guilt, frustration, or even loneliness. And again, these are all normal responses to grief and loss. And so you don't want to ignore what it is that you may be feeling. You want to actually say, it's okay. Tell yourself that it is all right to feel what you are feeling right now, because again, grief and loss is completely normal. And what you're experiencing is a natural response to what is taking place in this global crisis. So you want to ask yourself then instead, how can I show myself compassion? It's very important to show yourself compassion and those around you, but it's impossible to be compassionate to others if you're not first compassionate to yourself. So there are a few steps that you can take to begin to show yourself compassion. And the first is you want to recognize and name the emotion that you're experiencing. If you've seen some of the other videos, you know that I have said that it's very important to name your feeling so that you can tame the feeling. And if it's a positive feeling and emotion, then you want to name it so that you can contain it and keep it and enhance it. So when you're wanting to practice compassion for yourself and others, one of the first steps to take for self-compassion is asking yourself, what would I say to a friend if they felt what I was feeling in this moment? If a friend told you that they were feeling sad or that they were feeling guilty, what would you tell them? Typically, it's easier to show compassion to others than it is for us to show compassion to ourselves. But that same compassion, that same encouragement, those words that you would show or give to a friend are the very words that you want to speak to yourself so that you can show compassion to yourself and help make yourself feel better. Now, the other thing that you want to do is realize that at this time, it's very easy to experience guilt, especially if you're experiencing something that is called survivor's guilt. It's where you may have seen that others have passed and you're still here and you're feeling guilty and wondering, why was it them and not you? Or even if it was not in form of grief due to death, maybe it's that someone has lost a job and you're still working. There's this survivor's guilt that can come when there's grief and loss that is surrounding us. I want to encourage you to try your best to simply let it go. Right? And so you want to practice self-kindness. Treat yourself again the way that you would treat a friend. And kindness and compassion that you would show to someone else is very critical that you would show it to yourself. And you do not choose selfishness at this time and thinking as if you do not deserve compassion and kindness. Okay, so in fact, as you help yourself and you are showing compassion to yourself and being kind to yourself, you are developing the ability to maintain strength, resiliency. And so you know that you need resiliency to be able to get to the other side of this pandemic, right? And so then lastly, one thing that I want to encourage you to do is to recognize the common humanity around you. If you've seen some of the previous videos that we have posted, I have made a reference to us all being in the same storm, but acknowledging that we may not all have the same boat. Now that we're riding and sailing through the storm, some may be in a paddle boat, some may feel as if they're in a sailboat, some may feel as if they're in a very large, secure ship. But whatever the case, the common humanity that is around us is that one of the most rare times in life is that the entire world was experiencing the same crisis at the same time. And so remember, tell yourself you are not in this alone. Even if you feel as if you are in this alone, remind yourself that you are not, and we are actually all in this together. And so if you feel alone, if you feel isolated, find even just one person that you can share your feelings with, and share how maybe you are feeling overwhelmed, and express yourself, because often it seems as if we have to live it as a lonely island and do life alone. But I love to use the term that we are to do life together. So find someone, if you don't have your someone, to walk with and to talk with. And I don't necessarily mean walk side by side physically, but just as far as going through this journey in time with someone else, whether it's picking up the phone, whether it's sending an email or a Facebook message, you are able to express how you are feeling with someone who would be able to empathize and understand with you. And then as you are making sure that you're taking care of yourself, recognizing how you feel, validating how you feel, reminding yourself that it is okay, that there's nothing wrong with you, then you are able to do the same in turn for someone else, so that we can all make it to the other side, because this storm will end. Be encouraged.